What's happening? Hollywood Yellow checking in, and we back for another episode of HooBallinWorldwide, and we got the Big 3, Week 2 in the books. First game we had Game 1, Week 2. We had Three's Company versus Tri-State. Tri-State took the win, 51-35. Tri-State was led by Jason Richardson. He had 28 points. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and followed by Juwan Summers. Summers had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and they was looking good. Three's Company was led by Mario Chalmers and Michael Beasley. Mario Chalmers had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Michael Beasley still out there balling. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block. And what's their record now? So after that win, the Tri-State is now 1-1 of the season. And Week 3, they will face the Killer Threes. So Week 3, Tri-State will go against the Killer Threes to try to go 2-1. On to the next. Okay, on to the next. Game 2 of Week 2, we had the Aliens versus the Triplets, and the Triplets put them paws on the Aliens, 50-33. The Triplets move on to 2-0 for the season. The Aliens is now 1-1. The Triplets was led by Jeremy Pargo. He had 18 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and Nero Pargo, he had 17 points, 2 rebounds, and they will be moving on to face who they got next week. They will be moving on to face the Ball Hogs, and the Aliens will go against Bivouac, who have not won the game this year. We'll go get to that. Okay, on to the next. Now, Game 3, we had the Ball Hogs versus the Ghost Ballers. The Ball Hogs started off good in the first half. They led 26-20. But in the second half, the Ghost Ballers picked it up, getting 30 to the Ball Hogs 17. And the Ball Hogs did not pick up the win, so they will go 0-2 for the year so far. And the Ghost Ballers will be 2-0, and the Ghost Ballers was led by the one and only Mike Taylor. You know he always come to ball. He had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and Chris Johnson, he was the wingman for him. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and listen, them Ghost Ballers is a problem. Them Ghost Ballers is a problem. I'm gonna tell you right here, that boy Mike Taylor is a straight dog. Mike Taylor is a straight dog. But next week they will face the Trilogy, and the Ball Hogs will go against the Triplets. Now on to the next. Let's get into these Sunday matchups. Now let's get into it. Game 4. We had the Three-Headed Monster versus the Power. The Three-Headed Monster started off with the lead. They took the first half 25-20. In the second half, they scored 25, and the Power had 24. So the Three-Headed Monster ended up getting a win. So the 50-44 Three-headed monsters was led by Kevin Murray. He had 23 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. And then Rashad Lewis had 17 points, 6 rebounds. And next week, who will they face? Next week, the three-headed monster will face Three's Company. And that should be a good game. And the power is going against the enemies. The power is going against the enemies. Both teams are now, like I said, Power is now 1-1 of the season. Three-headed monster is now 1-1 of the season. Now on to the next. We got Bivouac versus the enemy. Bivouac was trying to get their first win of the season and couldn't pull it off. Enemy ended up winning 52-49. You know, the enemy started off balling in the first half. They had 26. Bivouac had 22. And in the second half, Bivouac outscored the enemy, but it wasn't enough. They scored 27. The enemy scored 26. And the enemy ended up winning that game 52-49. It was a great game. That's a must go back and watch game, man. They was enemy was led by Elijah Stewart. He had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. And Isaiah Austin was right behind him as leading scorer with 12 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. But oh yes, I gotta give a shout out to Gerald Green though for Bivouac. Gerald Green, he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. He was trying to hold it down, but it just wasn't enough. And the beeswax, the beeswax, Bivouac. Next week, Bivouac will be facing, who they go against next week? Bivouac will be facing the Aliens. So Bivouac, we try to get their first win next week or July 3rd against the Aliens. And we're going to see how that go. And the enemy will go against, who the enemy play? The enemy go against the Power. And that should be a dope game too. On to the next and the last game. The last game of week 2 was the Trilogy and the Killer Threes. The Trilogy and the Killer Threes, that was a great game. It came down to the wagon, to the winner, to the ball. Trilogy started off first half, putting the paws on them boys, 26-17. But in the second half, the Killer 3 stepped it up. They end up outscoring them 31-25. But it still wasn't enough. The Trilogy got the win, 51-48. The Trilogy was led by Earl Clark. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block. And Amir Johnson was right behind him with 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 block. And the leading scorer for the Killer Threes was Frankie. Frankie had 19 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. And next week, we will have, who they go against next week? Next week, the Trilogy. We already named it. Next week, the Trilogy will go against the Ghost Ballers. I got the Ghost Ballers getting that win. Got the Ghost Ballers pulling that off. Some Ghost Ballers been rocking out. Killer Threes is going against Tri-State. So we got Killer Threes versus Tri-State. And we got the Ghost Ballers and the Trilogy, man. But that's it for the weekly wrap-up of the recap for the Big 3. Shout out to the whole Big 3. From the players to the coaches. Cubes keep holding it down, man. Hollywood Yeller checking out HooBallinWorldwide.